All right, let's talk about fruit chart. So many of us grab a bowl, especially when we're fasting, thinking, hey, this is the ultimate healthy snack. But is it? Is that bowl of so-called natural goodness secretly sending your blood sugar on a wild roller coaster ride? Well, we're about to find out, because we're going to look at what a real-world blood sugar test actually revealed. I mean, it's a totally fair question, right? We've all heard that phrase, fruits are nature's candy. And look, that sounds fantastic, but let's be real, it also means they are packed with sugar. So what happens when you chop them all up and pile them into one big bowl? Are you accidentally creating a hidden sugar bomb? Let's get to the bottom of it. Okay, so to get a real no-nonsense answer, we're going to dive into a cool little experiment. They put a classic fruit shot to the test using one of those continuous glucose monitors. You know, the thing that tracks your blood sugar in real time. It's a pretty simple setup, but trust me, the results were not what you'd expect. So first things first, let's see exactly what went into this bowl. So the star of the show was a classic fruit chart. We're talking apple, banana, papaya, and pomegranate. A really nice mix of some sweet fruits and some more fibrous ones. But here's the key part, and don't forget this. It was topped with lemon juice and a sprinkle of masalas, to give it that signature tangy kick. Now, to make sure this was a fair test, the portion size was measured out precisely. We're talking 250 grams. That's a pretty standard snack-sized bowl, right? So the results should be super relatable for most of us. And just for context, that 250-gram portion comes in at an estimated 150 to 175 calories. So yeah, we're definitely in the territory of a light, common snack, not some huge, heavy meal. Okay, so the stage is officially set. We know exactly what was eaten, and we know exactly how much. So now for the big reveal. What did that glucose monitor actually have to say about it? So after downing this bowl of what seems like a whole lot of sugar from all that fruit, what do you think happened? Did blood sugar levels just shoot through the roof? Is that what you'd expect? And here it is. The result? A glucose increase of 40 milligrams per deciliter. Okay, 40. Now that number by itself doesn't really mean much, does it? Is 40 high? Is it low? A number like that is pretty useless without some context. So the real question becomes, how does that stack up against other common snacks? Right. To really get a feel for what that number means, we have to put it side by side with something else. So let's see how that 40-point spike compares to a couple of popular savory snacks you might reach for instead. And check this out. This is where it gets really, really interesting. The fruit chart's 40-point spike was actually lower than the savory options. Get this. Sabudana tikki came in at 48, and kuttu chilla caused an even bigger spike of 55. I mean, that's pretty surprising, isn't it? The sweet option won. Let's just put that into perspective for a second. The fruit chart's impact on blood sugar was 20% lower than the sabudana tikki and a full 25% lower than the kuttu chilla. The data here is crystal clear. Despite all that natural fruit sugar, the fruit chart was actually the most blood sugar-friendly choice out of all three. Okay, so that leads us to the million-dollar question. Why? How on earth did a bowl full of sweet fruit cause a lower blood sugar spike than the savory stuff? Well, the secret, it turns out, is all in what it's made of. It really boils down to two secret weapons. First up, fiber. All that natural fiber in the whole fruits, it acts like a brake pedal for the sugar, slowing down how quickly it all hits your bloodstream. And second, remember that lemon juice? The acid in it helps to slow down how fast your stomach empties, so that also helps to blunt the glucose spike. It's a surprisingly powerful one-two punch. The core finding from this whole experiment really says it all. And I quote, "Having a fruit shot is actually a good option to get energy without high sugar spikes." It's as simple as that, a tasty way to refuel your body without setting yourself up for that dreaded sugar crash later. All right, so we've looked at the experiment, we've seen the data, we've unpacked the science, but what's the one big takeaway here? What's the main thing you should remember from all this? Let's boil it all down. The most important thing to get is this. It's not just about the sugar in the fruit. It's about the entire package. You've got the fiber from the whole fruit and the acid from the lemon juice, and they're working together as a team. And that team makes fruit shot a surprisingly balanced blood sugar-friendly snack, way more so than you might have guessed. And really, that's the bottom line. This simple test totally flipped our expectations on their head. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other foods, the ones we label healthy or unhealthy, are hiding these kinds of secrets? I'd love to know what you think we should put to the test next. Thanks for tuning in.